We have just 2 days to go till the Australian Grand Prix weekend officially gets underway for us fantasy managers. Welcome back. Today we're talking about autopilot versus no negative. With the risk, with the hype, let's find out with statistics. We only do statistics here and some loosey-goosey maths, as Ewan from F1 Fantasy Pole Position likes to say. Speaking of, watch out for the video we'll be launching tomorrow. I'll have a chat with him about F1 Fantasy, how he got to where he is right now, and what are his tips and tricks for new players and old deckhands alike. So let's get straight into it. And we will be considering the value of no negative using my own team. Here I've got 3 teams lined up of different variety, different levels of spice and such. And let's start off straight away with Team 1. So we've got 2 Mercedes drivers, Russell, Antonelli, can't go wrong with that. We've got a Lawson, Colapinto, Bottas, and then of course the most templatey constructor selection we have seen so far this year, Ferrari and Haas. Now, I just want to show you with actual team selections how big of a difference playing autopilot or no negative can make. I'm strongly considering playing autopilot especially, but I think people are sleeping on the no negative chip as well. Granted, there is also argument to be had to play it next week with the Chinese sprint weekend, but we don't know what's going to happen there yet, so I'm going to go off what data I have right now. Let's go here. F1 Fantasy Tools, Team Calculator. I've got my drivers selected here. I've got my constructor selected here. And this is the lineup we've got right now, the same as Team 1 over here. And the expected points projected, thank you, writer, 163. Solid, not bad at all. Of course, our our budget drivers here, of course, not expected to do so fantastic. There's a 13% DNF odds for Bottas, driver of the day. Unless he finishes P1, there, no way, mate, no way. And expected price change of 0.42. Now, this is without any chips activated. Now, let's imagine I've got 2 strong drivers here. I do not know which one's going to score better. I don't know if one of them might even DNF or crash out at turn 1, but F1 Fantasy Tools just updated the website to include this chip here, Autopilot. And if you look here, we can see the expected delta points that we can get by activating Autopilot. And if you do the math, this comes out to around a 6% increase. So in theory, that means our score could go up by up to 6%. And the predicted chance of this being activated is 41%. So not the greatest of odds, but I'll come back to this one in just a second. So I might not play autopilot on this team, but on team 2, things are a bit more interesting. So we've got Verstappen and Antonelli as my premium drivers, and we've got our classic Ferrari, and then also a bit more budget option, Racing Bulls, just to squeeze in Max Verstappen here, and also Ollie Behrman. I really like Haas. I really like Oliver Behrman as a driver to have in your team. So be sure to run these calculations I'm doing now with your own team. And speaking of this team, here we can see expected 155 points, slightly less than this one here, but budget goes up by about 0.2 million more. I have been priced out of great teams by just 0.1 million. So never miscalculate, never underestimate how much of a difference even a 0.1 million in budget can make. Now here the expected points of activating autopilot is 10%, and the probability of this chip being activated is just over 50. So there, for me, this is a good enough reason to go with autopilot. We don't know where Verstappen's going to end up, although probably high at the top. And we don't know where Antonelli is going to end up. He might just win the race for all we know. And this is quite a solid lineup, risk diversified, as we like it. And then looking at Team 3, we've got Leclerc, and then 2 premium constructors, Mercedes and Ferrari. Arguably one of the stronger constructor team-ups we can get. And if we look at the estimated points here, we can see it is the strongest scoring team at 174 as opposed to 163, so 10 points up already. But we take a negative 0.2 million hit. That is unfortunately due to Perez being in here. He doesn't have the grid place penalty that Bottas has, so he will probably go down in value, but I can't really do anything about it because 6.3 is not enough to get me up to where I need to be. But that's life. Actually, let me just double check that. I might be doing something really stupid here. Let's look. Yep, that's the only option we have left. Unless we do something like this, and then we still are stuck with Perez. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Alas. So back to here we go. So here in the team calculator, we can see if we activate autopilot, we only get a 2 points difference by activating autopilot, and we've got just a 13.8% chance of the autopilot being activated. Why? Well, it is very unlikely that any of these drivers are going to outscore Leclerc in any shape or form. So on a team like this, do not play autopilot. Only play autopilot if you've got 2 A-tier drivers in your team, but not 2 A-tier constructors. Now, coming back to other chips, let's have a look at no negative, which is the other very interesting chip for this weekend, and the following one if we're being completely honest. This team goes up from 174.6 to 210 points. We're talking about approximately 20-22% of an increase here, which is huge. Huge. Granted, this may be a bit premature to play this chip already in the first race of the season, but the cars are only going to get more reliable from here on out. And there might be bad weather late in the year on a sprint weekend or something like that, but we don't know that yet. What we do know is what's going to happen in Australia. We know the weather's going to be good. We know it's a low overtake track. It has a dodgy turn 1. It has a high DNF history. I think there's an average of 3.6 DNFs in the last few years, if I'm not mistaken, 3 or 4, I'm not sure, but around there. So there's always some kind of carnage. There's the chance someone could get damage, even if they don't crash out directly, and they could go all the way back to P22, which would be negative 22 points in the absolute worst case scenario. And imagine that's Leclerc. With his luck, he could very well have that happen to him. Qualifies P1, gets damage, and then finishes in P22. Multiply that by 2, negative 44. Yeah, not an ideal way to start the season. So, strong case for no negative as well. And we'll do the same exercise with these teams here. And this one jumps up also about 20%, slightly less, 155 up to 191. So still pretty strong, and here also 199. So play around with these. You've still got Thursday and Friday to play around with your teams. Use your free transfers as much as possible. Move stuff around, experiment, activate chips, and so on. Chips I would not touch right now. 3 times boost, limitless. Wildcard could come in handy next week in the Chinese Grand Prix if the order of constructors and drivers is totally different from what we expected. But yeah, play around with the teams, send me your questions in the comments, and let me know what you are planning to do with your chip. I, for one, am very tempted to play autopilot on my team 2. I might hold off on the chip for team 1, but team 3 is also a very strong candidate for no negative, as that is the absolute most points that I am being I can see simulated for any of my team lineups here. So T1 probably not going to play any chips. Team 2 probably autopilot, and Team 3, no negative, is a very, very strong candidate as well, especially because I've got 2 Ferrari assets, and boy, have we all not been burned by Ferrari in the past. So that was the video for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you again in the next edition of Box F1 Fantasy. Be sure to check out tomorrow's video, which is going to be a chat about the F1 with Ewan, and let me know if you've got any questions you want me to ask him. Cheerio, and see you at race weekend. Bye bye.